Hey guys, Logan Clemens here, freelance event manager, and today I'm excited to bring you a new video. I don't know why I did that, but I'm just very excited to chat with you guys today. Today we're going to tackle one of my favorite things about the new virtual event world, and just my favorite tip when I'm talking to people about virtual events is why you need to have an event plan for your next Zoom meeting or virtual event, whatever platform you're using. You need a plan. I know a lot of events that people are doing right now, they're kind of on the fly. We're all new to this virtual space, and so it's beautiful because we get to have fun, but that doesn't mean you get to just turn on your camera, start an event, and it's happening. Unfortunately, your attendees can tell if you have a plan, and they can definitely tell if you don't. I know I've attended several events where I have felt like they didn't really think through exactly how they wanted this event both to look and to feel when you're an attendee. It's very different than when we're at an in-person event in the sense that we don't have that excuse or that we don't have the benefit of being in person and getting to create a whole feel for an event with the physical space and the decor and everything. We're home. We're in our houses, our apartments, our bedrooms, our living rooms, wherever we are, and looking at a screen. So it's even more important that you think through exactly what you're going to do when and how you want your audience to feel. So I'm going to break down some of my favorite, tips for why you need to have a plan and maybe what that plan actually will look like. So if you're planning a virtual event and you want to make sure it's impactful, memorable, people have fun, stick around. I'm going to tackle all of those. And before I get started, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe below, turn on that little bell button that'll get you notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. You can like, dislike, comment below. What kind of events are you planning right now? Have you been to a really fun virtual event? Let me know. I want to hear about it. Down below. Chat, chat, chat. All right, back into it. As I said in the beginning, the one thing you need to have, no matter if you're planning a virtual or an in-person event, you need a run of show. Or an ROS, sometimes you hear it called. What is a run of show, Logan? Well, a run of show, I don't know why I just asked a question to myself. Well, a run of show is something that tells you exactly what is happening when. And this isn't just a basic timeline. Maybe you've heard it called a timeline. It's also called a rundown. Run of show is a little bit more of the theatrical, theater-esque version of it. And that's definitely now in the space that we are with virtual. I feel like everybody now is becoming a TV producer or a director of a play because we're all sitting and just watching. So you need a run of show. And the run of show breaks down what is happening when, where, and at every single element of your event. So this means you break it down as simple as what is on the screen, what are your people hearing, and maybe even what are they doing if you have them doing something in their home. And you have a start time and an end time and the duration of time for that element. So let's say we're kicking it off, we're going to have a really fun welcome video. So it would say from 12 to 12:05, a 5-minute duration video, welcome video. Audio is going to be from the video, and you can just say your audience is just watching. But this is something that will then show you minute by minute exactly what you're going to be doing throughout your virtual event. One of these things that I love to talk about too with a run of show is it is a changing document at all times. It's a living and breathing document. And so you could have it changing all the way up until like the minute before your event starts, and that's totally okay. This is just going to be your map when you are the planner, the organizer of this event, to let you know what's going to happen when. And I will say I've been attending a ton of virtual events just because my event planner brain wants to do all the research and seeing what other people are doing. And you can tell very quickly when someone hasn't thought through every single element of their event and what they want us to be feeling when and doing when, because you can just tell it's those awkward transitions, that waiting of an awkward panelist of their face where they're not sure if they're on camera or off camera, or someone's fumbling to put a graphic up. We've been there. So this run of show kind of helps you think about ahead of time, rehearse it, and execute exactly what you want to be happening in your event, every single element and every single step of the way. All right, so let's break down what you need to put into your run of show. We're going to go back to one of my key principles. I've done an entire article about it. I'll link below to it. But it's about your why and setting your North Star or your intention for your event. Why are you bringing people together? Why should attendees even attend your event? What are you hoping that they are going to get out of the event? And is there anything you want them to take away and start doing, or maybe promoting something, one of your services, a new event you're doing? You need to focus in and hone in on that why, because that's going to help lead you when you're thinking, oh, do we do a video? Oh, do we do an extra panel? Or this is long, or this is short. I should do a poll. All these things play into helping you execute your why. And if you just are doing an event and you haven't figured out the exact reason why you're doing it, or your North Star or intention for that event, it's going to come through in the programming, and your attendees are definitely going to notice. Next step into making your run of show, make a plan. As I told you, and I'll show you here on the screen, you can see right now, I have a start time, an end time. I put in a estimated amount of time. I write the content. So the content, this could just refer, this is kind of the description of what's happening. And then I break it down even more. And here's where you have video, you have lights if it was an in-person event. We're virtual, so it's not there. And then you also have audio, and then I put any extra notes. These are like notes for myself and my team when I'm executing events, so I know exactly what I should be looking for. And so here's where you just start putting in big, broad strokes. If you don't know exactly what's going to be the sound or what the video is, but you could start to put the content and know, okay, we want to do a welcome video or a welcome. Then we know we want to introduce a speaker. Okay, we want one speaker to speak. Then we do Q&A. So you can start just populating these things in, and as you do it, you'll start to realize there's gaps, or there's moments where you go, oh, it would be awesome to have a graphic with a little bit of bio information about my speaker before we go into the speaker video. Well, that's where you add a line item, and that can just be speaker intro, 1 minute, and on your screen you're going to show a graphic. The audio maybe is still the live speaker, the host introducing the speaker, and then after that you transition into the speaker, and that's when you would put the speaker video on screen. This is also another great part to start thinking about, what can you pre-record? I love live, I'm not gonna lie. I think there's nothing more fun than experiencing things in live, real time. But one of the things with virtual events is it is a challenge with technology. Sometimes Wi-Fi doesn't work. Sometimes the camera's not great. The audio's not great. Things happen. And sometimes it's on your side as the host. Sometimes it's on the speaker side, the attendee side, whatever it is. So I found the more elements that you can pre-record for your live event, the better. It just allows you to have a little bit of wiggle room. Certain elements you know they're going to go off without a hitch, and still incorporate live elements, but it just takes away from having to have a 100% live event to maybe, okay, 30% is pre-recorded and 70% is live. It's also really fun as an attendee because it just kind of breaks up the momentum, and it's not so much of this like Zoom fatigue of just a bunch of floating heads. You can have more fun when you're doing a pre-recorded video. Which brings me to my next point. Don't just rely on speech or talking or just a single person standing in front of the camera talking to you, which I'm realizing right now I'm doing that. But my video is shorter and it's not live and it's not an event, so you can watch it whenever you want, or you can fast forward this part, whatever you want to do. Anyway, mix it up. This is where, as I said before, with the pre-recorded part, you can do some fun things in that. I would mix up who's speaking. Sometimes you have a host, sometimes you have a panelist, sometimes you get a panelist interviewing other panelists. You have pre-recorded videos that maybe are more highly produced. You can do interactive polling with the audience. You can do live Q&A. You could do social Q&A where you're asking people to ask you questions via social media. There are so many things you can do, and the more you mix it up and keep it fun and fresh, the more entertained your attendees are going to be, and probably the more likely they are going to listen to whatever that why is that you're trying to get across to them at your virtual event. And that brings me to my last point for your run of show: surprise and delight. Now, this is probably the reason why I love event planning so much, is the element of surprise and delight, because this applies no matter if you're virtual or in person, but you want to just give something unexpected to the guests. When I say delight, usually because it's a positive surprise, not a negative surprise, like you ran out of food or the alcohol ran out or the building alarm went off or something. That's surprising, but not in a good way. So you want to surprise and delight, and I'm seeing really cool things that people are doing virtually online. They're doing, instead of just a regular happy hour, they're having a local winery come on, or a gelato shop and doing an ice cream tasting, so that you have an interactive activity that is bringing that connection, that surprise, that enjoyment we get in person into your home. And so when I say interactive, like gelato tasting, it would be that you would purchase, 6 different scoops from a gelato shop. They would come onto your happy hour for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, give an intro, lead you through the different flavors, and then they hop off and you're free to socialize. What I love about it, like in-person events, is it gives your attendees something to do. It's a conversation starter. It's a shared experience that surprised, delighted, and now you're leaving them to get to talk about it with each other, instead of just starting a call or an event and saying, "Oop, start talking." You're like, I don't know what to talk about. I need something to do. Another thing I've seen that's super fun is I've seen people play around with their backgrounds because, you know, we're all watching these videos or attending these events from our houses or our apartments. And so people have had fun either sending them like a Zoom background that we could all change our backgrounds to if we're all on screen, or sending them an actual backdrop that you hang up like behind you that brings everyone together. I personally have loved the idea of sending boxes to people's houses, and so these boxes are filled with things to either interact with during your event, pre-event. I've seen a lot of people pivot to do that for their swag, for conferences. So there are cool ways that you can still surprise and delight, even if we can't reach out and touch each other and like be there in person. I hope you found some of these tips really, really helpful. If anything, I really hope my key takeaway that you go with is you need to run a show. You need, please, 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 please have a run a show. It'll just help you give yourself direction throughout your event, show continuity, show to your attendees that you planned this out, and at the end of the day, it'll really help you execute your why. The more details, the better, but for starters, if you just need to like get stuff on paper, just write it down. But if you have only that very basic rundown and you're starting to go into your event, you might have a little bit of trouble. You might have some of those awkward moments, those fumbles of, ooh, I didn't think through exactly how I wanted to introduce this person. So think it through, have that run a show, and it's going to be your best and strongest event tool when you're looking to execute your next virtual event. Anyway, I hope you learned something new today. You all now know that you need to run a show. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. As always, subscribe, hit the little bell to turn on the notifications for my channel so you get notified every single Monday when I drop a new video. Again, my name's Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer, and I'm so excited to chat with you guys every single week about my favorite tips and tricks about event planning. And until next time, bye-bye.